This is Patriots linebacker, Super Bowl 49 champ, Darius Fleming, and you're watching VonAllen Sports, real and honest NFL analysis. Subscribe now. Join the empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go!
VonAllen Sports. VonAllen Sports.
This is the man with the most badass name in sports, the Pharaoh, the Egyptian god himself, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And on behalf of my man VonAllen, we want to thank you for your support. Let's fucking go.
VonAllen Sports.
That was outstanding on so many levels. Look at that torque.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm about to give you motherfuckers the biggest I told you so of all time. I told you so. I told you. I told you. I have been saying for years. How long? How long? The Hall of Fame is shit. The Hall of Fame is garbage. The Hall of Fame means nothing anymore. They discredit themselves by making Terrell Owens wait 3 years. So it was already discredited. They already tainted it some with the Super Bowl or the 100th anniversary. And they let in Bill Cowher and Jimmy Johnson, and then they put in Tony Dungy, okay? But this killed it. The Hall of Fame was like, on the sidewalk dying. It's like, it got hit. I mean, just kind of seizing, and then just kind of laying there, like thinking about its life choices. And there's like a 1% chance that it actually, if it lays there long enough, it probably could get up and be okay, or somebody would walk by and save it. Yeah. Well, the Hall of Fame was on that sequence there, and they could have gone either way, right? They could have gone either way. And they did it. They just killed it. It's just over. It's over. It's finished. It doesn't mean anything now. Anybody who's inducted now, it doesn't mean anything. And let me explain why it doesn't mean anything, okay? If someone goes around, okay, complimenting everybody all the time, okay? Someone you know, or someone you like or respect, right? And you thought you want their approval. But they compliment everyone on earth. They compliment ugly people. They compliment good-looking people. They compliment people who are good at what they do. They compliment people who are bad at what they do. Okay? And then they compliment you. Does that have any value? No, because you think it's just nonsense, right? Well, this is that, except this isn't positive. So this is basically, if this is their opinion, then it doesn't mean anything. So basically, anytime someone gets voted in now, it doesn't have any value. So even if they say, oh, Tom Brady gets in first ballot, it doesn't have any value. It doesn't mean anything. Because it came, look who it's coming from. It's coming from someone who just doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything. It's got to mean something. That's why I tell you guys on here, I said I'm very slow to crown people. People ask me why I'm not being more, I'm not being more hardcore and excited about Drake May. I am excited about Drake May. It's just I'm not ready to crown him. And let me tell you something. That right there means that when I do give him that, it actually has value. If I crown him now, well, then I'm just an idiot Patriots fan that just randomly liking the guy who happens to be our quarterback. And it doesn't mean anything. And then when I do that to other people, even if I criticize other people, I just look like a biased homer, And that's exactly what this is. That means that they completely abandoned their criteria and how the voting process works. They completely abandoned it. It's finished. It's done. We need our own Hall of Fame now. We just need our own Hall of Fame. So, it's just, it's unbelievable. Honestly, this is shocking. This is like this is in the sports world. This is like, for sports, this has got to be one of the most shocking things I've ever seen. I mean, just speechless, right? It's just, when I first heard it, I just couldn't believe it. What's up, you guys? Israel's here. Tyree Vaughn, what's up, man? Glad seeing you guys here. John, Elf, Phil. How's it going, Phil? Austin, welcome back. Nightwalker, what's up? Straight from Deutschland. Sierra, what's up? Josh, where you been, buddy? How you doing, man? You playing football? Very nice. Thanks for joining. So we got a $10 super chat earlier before the show started from Alpha Courage, and he sent me a link. He said he made this Super Bowl poster, so I'm going to show this real quick. And it is Super Bowl 60, Road to 7. Remember us, Darnold? And this is, of course, a joke going back to, I think, 2019. I think we were on Monday Night Football. Could have been Sunday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. It was a primetime game. I know that. It might have been Thursday Night Football. But Sam Darnold was getting all of these crazy looks by the Patriots defense. And he's mic'd up and he's telling his coaches, I'm seeing ghosts. I'm seeing ghosts out there. And, I personally don't think that ESPN should have broadcast that. It was really, that's kind of weird. But that gives away part of the that could be considered strategy. The Patriots are monitoring the broadcast, and then they tell the Patriots that he's seeing ghosts, and that's what he's thinking. I'm not saying it will help that much, but I don't know if it could. But I just thought that was a little weird. Like, they need to monitor those things better. But it became an iconic, famous, blunder on television. And The only way Sam's going to live this down is if he wins the Super Bowl, basically. So that's he's going to have to get out of that. But that's nice. Well done, Elf. Well done. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for that super chat. Time to make him see Ghost again. Yeah. So I just read an article about one of the voters, okay? And because of all the backlash, they're all the voters on the Hall of Fame panel, they're all afraid that they're about to get removed from the panel. Because the Hall of Fame released a statement and they're pissed off. Okay, so those are separate entities. So the people that work at the Hall of Fame, the people that run the Hall of Fame, like, you know, you always see that guy that delivers the news stuff. Okay, I don't think he's there anymore, but that position, those people that run the Hall of Fame, the panelists are different. They're just a committee that's assembled from across the country. They're all from different media markets. And then there's they call them the at-large people, the people who have random jobs who aren't affiliated with any kind of media outlet as far as like a standard media outlet. And those are people like Bill Polian and Tony Dungy. But anyway, this particular guy works for Kansas City Star, I think it's called. The Kansas City main paper, whatever it's called. Who cares, right? It's Kansas City, it doesn't matter. But he's afraid now of getting kicked off the committee. So he went and released a article real fast, trying to defend himself, trying to defend why he voted the way he voted, you know. And yeah, there we go. Trying to defend the way he voted. And he wrote this like epically long word salad of nothing until he finally got to the end. He said, I did not vote against Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. I voted for these guys. So he's playing a semantic game here. All right. So he said, I voted for L.C. Greenwood, Ken Anderson, and Roger Craig. Yeah. I had to go up and look up L.C. Greenwood's career because I completely forgot that he existed until I heard his name. And when I saw his name, I'm like, oh yeah, the Steelers guy. Completely forgot he was even on this earth. Okay? Hell, he could be dead and I might not know it. All right? But anyway, so I had to look it up and I'm like, damn, dude is dead. All right. So never, haven't thought about this guy. Probably haven't heard his name since I was a kid. And it was barely then. Ken Anderson. Ken Anderson. Okay? We trying to put Ken Anderson in the Hall of Fame? You trying to put Ken Anderson in the Hall of Fame, then Eli Manning is the first ballot Hall of Famer, dude. Ken Anderson? Are you... What? What? Like, it's unbelievable. Ken Anderson?
What the fuck?
I mean, it just... Oh. Ken Anderson had an MVP year in like 82. Okay? No, it was 81. Shit, I don't know. I was like 1 year old. Okay. 81. Okay. It was the year he played in Montana and yeah, the 49ers won in 81 and 84. And their first two, right? The ones before Jerry Rice. So it was 81 that he played Ken Anderson because the Bengals was the first. Yeah, because Montana's second one was against the Dolphins. So it was Ken Anderson. He was an MVP that year. And he put together some decent yards. Like he had a decent career. When he retired, he probably was high up on the list of yards and touchdowns and stuff like that because, you know, at that time there wasn't a whole lot. There was a big body of work. But I just can't understand in what universe, okay? And I don't care if there are a trillion parallel universes of our Earth stacked up against each other, and none of them is Ken Anderson, a Hall of Famer. Milena, help me please, help me please. I'm having a nervous breakdown. So that was this guy's justification. Not hating him on the Roger Craig pick. I understand it. Or at least that one has got some merit there, a little bit. He's still not a Hall of Famer. But you didn't go either of them? Not Kraft or Belichick? Yeah. He's trying to save his ass. That he doesn't want to be kicked off the committee because the Hall of Fame is pissed off. And you know why the Hall of Fame is pissed off? The Hall of Fame is pissed off because every coach in the Hall of Fame, except for one, has called them and said, "What are you doing? Are you freaking kidding me? We're not coming to the show. We're not going to go. This is unbelievable." Okay? Even ones that are not even in the Hall. Okay? Mike Shanahan, pissed off. Doesn't count, I guess, but Nick Saban's pissed off. Bill Cowher's pissed off. He's in the Hall. The most pissed off is Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson has gone completely nuts. This dude has been ranting and raving since yesterday. He's been nonstop, okay? Nonstop going after this. And then Johnson is the first to say, "I'm not going to show up." He's not even going to the Hall of Fame ceremony this year. This is more than just Belichick. This is not just about Belichick. This confirms everything I have ever said about them because it saw it coming a mile away. I remember I was saying this stuff in the very early days of this channel. I was talking about this, and then I remember Deion Sanders had said something like that. It's the Hall of let everyone in, you know? And now it's the Hall of lets everyone in as long as there are people that we like, but we don't let anyone in who we don't like. Now, I'll tell you what. I already respected Jimmy Johnson, what he's done and everything, okay? I don't think he's a Hall of Famer because I think the Hall of Fame should be extremely, extremely difficult to get in. And he left the Dallas Cowboys. I understand the problem. I understand the issues that happened in Dallas, okay? I lived through those issues. I remember them very well. But it doesn't matter. Barry Switzer came in and won a third. And people say, "Oh, he won with Jimmy's team." No, it doesn't work like that. You still have to win, okay? Because they didn't beat the 49ers in the middle of that dynasty. They lost the 49ers. So it's not an automatic. It's not like if you have an easy schedule, you automatically get to go to the Super Bowl every year. If that's the case, then Cleveland Browns would have 10 Lombardis, okay? And they'd have 30 appearances because they always have a bottom-feeding schedule, according to people who, you know, if they have a last-place schedule every year. But I think the Hall of Fame, to be quite honest with you, if you're not a first ballot Hall of Famer, I don't think you're a Hall of Famer. That's my criteria. That's how I feel. Okay. I think it should be extremely limited. Extremely limited. Like when you walk in there, there's only, I mean, you should be able to walk into the Hall of Fame and memorize and know every bust you saw. That's how stingy I am about the Hall of Fame. Now, nobody's ever going to be that stingy. Okay. Nobody's ever going to get the way I want it, because in order to get it the way I want it, you'd have to remove people. And that's not happening. Okay. Nobody's removing anyone. All right. Half the Green Bay Packers team from the 1950s and 60s is in that damn place because they didn't have anybody else to induct. Okay. They're just like throwing people in. They're like, well, you know, it's like when you first start a convenience store or a grocery store or something, and you've got like an unlimited supply of Twinkies and you don't know what to do with them after the business becomes bigger and bigger. And it's like, oh, what do we do with these Twinkies? I think they're still edible. I know they're like 40 years old, but, should we keep them on the shelf? Yeah, you kind of have to, because we don't want to, you know, take the loss. And I don't know what that means and why that analogy works at all. But I was hoping something developed there and it didn't. So just scratch all that. I just really like Twinkies. So forget that. But yeah. Okay. They try to give Tony Dungy credit for John Gruden's Super Bowl. Well, if that was Tony Dungy's Super Bowl, then why did Tony Dungy not win Super Bowl before with Tampa? John Gruden came in and won the Super Bowl against the Raiders because John Gruden was the coach of the Raiders. So he knew everything they were doing. Tony Dungy didn't know that information. Tony Dungy didn't have that information. So Tony Dungy didn't win that Super Bowl. John Gruden won that Super Bowl. Just like Barry Switzer won that Super Bowl against the Steelers. You can't take it away from him. Okay? George Seifert, he won that Super Bowl, the fourth Montana Super Bowl. Montana's last one. Not Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh stepped down. George Seifert came in, won that Super Bowl. George Seifert won again. Okay? Years removed. And he won in 94. So I understand that Jimmy Johnson did some things, but he got in. They were crediting him for the Dallas dynasty, the entire thing. Okay? But to me, I don't think that's enough. I think that I don't think Bill Parcells is a Hall of Famer. I see very few people should be in that Hall of Fame. I just when it comes to coaches, it should be the hardest. And it really was. There was not very many coaches in the Hall of Fame. It was very, very difficult, very, very hard to get in until the 100th anniversary when they just brought everyone in. You have to remember, nobody's going to remember that Bill Cowher and all them and Tony Dungy and them, that was a 100th anniversary gimmick. Okay. Once you're in the hall, you're in the hall. So you were considered the same as the other guys. So when you get a bust, when Tony Dungy, Nosferatu, okay, when Nosferatu gets a bust in the Hall of Fame, he is on the same level. Okay, think about this. Tony Dungy is on the same level. Bill Cowher is on the same level as Bill Walsh, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Vince Lombardi, Don Shula. They're the same. There's no difference because in the hall, there's not a ranking system. There's just busts everywhere. There's no difference because that was the point of the hall. Once you're in the hall, you are among the elite. You're among immortals. Okay? And there's no difference between you. That was the whole point of it. And that's what made it prestigious. That's what made it prestigious. When you get in there, there is no ranking system. There is no, oh, this guy did this and this guy, but this guy's not as good as this guy because he's blah, blah, blah. That doesn't exist in there. It's just greatness. You walk in, it's just greatness everywhere. And a kid who doesn't know any of these coaches, that kid thinks they're all the same, right? And when you're looking at it, that's what it means to be in the Hall of Fame. And look what they've done to it. Look what they've done to it. This is insane. Should Joe Gibbs be in? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Joe Gibbs, yeah. Dude won 3 different Super Bowls with 3 different teams. Like, as far as like the teams were just very separated, different quarterbacks. And, Theismann's, really the only one. I mean, I'm not trying to like shit on Doug Williams or anything, but he wasn't exactly a world beater. But yeah. Oh, Joe Gibbs. Absolutely. Joe Gibbs. What he achieved, I consider him. Yeah, absolutely. Joe Gibbs is a Hall of Famer. But if Jimmy had stayed and just captured that third one, then yes. Okay. Any coach responsible for a dynasty is, in my opinion, is a Hall of Famer. That means Vince Lombardi's Packers. That means Chuck Noll's Steelers, obviously. Bill Walsh's 49ers. He got 3. That's enough. Okay. Jimmy Johnson would have had the 3 Cowboys. Then you've got, although they put him in anyway. So they gave him credit for the 3 Super Bowls, basically. Then you've got Bill, obviously. He's got 2 separate dynasties. People keep saying it's one dynasty. It's not one dynasty, guys. It's not one. It's 2. It's 2 different dynasties. There was a 10-year gap in between. And when people say it's one giant dynasty, that diminishes it, in my opinion. It's 2. Do you know how hard it is to have 2 different dynasties in 2 different decades? That means everyone's different except like one person. That is insanely hard. Tom Brady wasn't playing with any of the same people in the second dynasty. But we didn't win anything for 10 years. You can't say that's a dynasty. Okay? It's not a 20-year dynasty. It's 2 different dynasties. So if you're a coach and you get in Hall of Fame for being responsible for a dynasty, how do you not get in on first try having 2 of them? Okay? Now, I have never, ever been the biggest cheerleader of Bill Belichick, since Tom Brady left. But this just shows you my integrity, because this is about football. All right? This is about football. This is about reality. There's very few people on this earth I hate more than Michael Vick. Do you understand that? I hate this man. I utterly hate this man. What he did to dogs, what he even did to cats. Okay? Did you know that Michael Vick was trying to train his dogs to fight, and he would throw cats? He'd get stray cats from around the neighborhood, and he'd throw a cat in there for them to practice on. At one time, a cat kicked his dog's ass, and the dog cowered down. Okay? And Michael Vick was so embarrassed by it, so embarrassed because everyone was laughing, he electrocuted the dog. Okay? He killed it. This guy is the utter scum of the earth. I'm still going to say he's the best running quarterback I've ever seen. Okay? I'm still going to say that he can throw the ball very far. You know why? Because that has nothing to do with my judgment on the field. It has nothing to do with football. Do you know who's in the Hall of Fame? O.J. Simpson. Yeah, we don't want to sully the Hall of Fame with Bill Belichick's, character issues, right? Yeah, okay. But we got O.J. Simpson in there. Okay, that's cool. Apparently, you can murder 2 people, and that's okay. That's fine. And let's not think about all the other character issued people that are in that hall. You want to go down the line and talk about character issues? Really? That's a joke. If people are calling it two different dynasties to diminish what Tom accomplished and to revise history, implying that he was a nobody in that 9-year gap, wrong. They were still very relevant. Yeah, Israel. They are using it incorrectly. They're so stupid that they don't realize that saying two different dynasties is actually a bigger compliment. Here's why. When you combine everything together, okay, it's treated as the same. So when you say 20-year dynasty, people cannot comprehend that. They don't think about it like that. So they think it's the same as Troy Aikman's dynasty or Bart Starr's or Terry Bradshaw's or Joe Montana's. They don't understand the magnitude of that when you say it like that. You have to break it down. You have to show what it really was. Do you have any idea how hard it is to win 3 Super Bowls, then have a 10-year gap where you don't win? A 10-year gap. You understand that after 3 Super Bowls and then a 10-year gap, your career's probably over? Even as a coach, your tenure's probably coming to an end. As a quarterback, your career is coming to an end. You're probably going to be traded by then. After 10 years? This is not just 10 years in general. This is 10 years after the fact that you won 3 Super Bowls. So we're talking 14, 15 years. And then you start a new dynasty. A whole new one. A whole freaking new one. And in that dynasty, you go to 4 Super Bowls. And you win 3 out of 4. See, when you break it down like that, it really, really reflects. And then you can throw in, oh yeah, by the way, remember that 10-year gap? Yeah, that was 2 MVPs. That was 2 Super Bowl appearances. And that also included Tom Brady being injured and out for a year. That includes an undefeated regular season. Then you throw that in there. You sprinkle that in after you point out that the dynasties are separate. And then you come back and then you shit on the 10-year thing in their eyes because they think that's a positive, like, haha, you didn't win 10 years. And then you shit on them by throwing that in there too. That's how you handle it right there. 2 dynasties? You're responsible for 2? Dude, that's incredible. Because by the time you get to the second dynasty, it is a completely different everything. Everybody's changed. First dynasty, the offensive coordinator was Charlie Weiss. Second dynasty, it was Josh McDaniels. Different coordinators. First dynasty, everybody on offense is gone. Everybody on defense is gone, except for Vince Wilfork being a rookie in 2004 and then being on that team in 2014. The only constants was Belichick and Brady. That's it. There you go. Okay? That's Belichick's argument. That is Brady's argument. Had they won Super Bowl 46, then you could probably squeeze it in there and say in that 10-year gap. But they didn't, But in my opinion, that is how you should present it, because it's much more impressive. Because people's minds cannot break down the 20-year thing. They can't. They're automatically going to line it up with a 3 or 4 year dynasty like all the others. They're going to just line it up with what the Chiefs, this recent Chiefs team. In their minds, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So okay, someone's this is sidetracked, and we'll get back to because I've got some more to talk about this. But someone said that Drake May was injured, so I remember the play that he was injured on. I was live at the time, and I saw him get hit, and I saw him roll over on his shoulder. He got up, and he looked very unhappy. But then he went back to the thing and then threw it. So I didn't really. It's one of those subconscious things, like you realize you're watching it and stuff, but you don't actually talk about it. But I did see him grimace a bit, and I saw the hit because the way the guy rolled on him, it looked like I was like, ooh, that was weird, that was awkward. But I didn't give it much thought after that, but I did see it. But then he threw the ball, he ran with it, and then he celebrated by, when he got that first time, he celebrated by throwing his arm forward. So I dismissed it, just like you see, and dismiss it like, oh, he's okay. But I know the play that he heard it on, that it's obviously that one, and I think, but he's going to be fine. I'm not even remotely worried about it. So. Here's what Belichick needs to do. Okay. Are there any teams that don't have a coach now? Or is all the coaching vacancies filled? Because I was say he needs to come back and call up Tom, call up Gronk, call up Edelman, call up Danny, get everybody back together and just go on like a 2007 revenge run. Okay, I'm talking just dominating everybody. Just find an owner that will just spend crazy money on free agents. Every free agent will be fighting to get to that team. Like AJ Brown will be trying to get traded. Like all kinds of guys will be forcing themselves into that team. And you just completely just go on a total tear. Okay, just like a complete tear, and just eviscerate everyone. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine how awesome that would be? God, that would be epic. That's a movie right there. Okay, I'm going to go back to your comments, just catch up a little bit. Josh says, release the Pro Football Hall of Fame files. Yes. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson, he's gone hardcore now. What's up, Dave? Okay, yeah, Josh. So you're saying Jimmy Johnson's saying that everybody filmed back then. Of course they did. That was the norm. Stealing signals has been a staple in sports forever. In baseball and football, that is the thing. Okay, that's what you do. That's an element of the sport. That's part of it. You know? The argument about Spygate was the designated area. That was it. The Patriots never filmed anyone's practice. Okay, that was complete bullshit. That was made up. Even the Boston Globe had to retract that. But the damage was done. That's why I told you guys before, never get accused of anything, because that alone can do the damage. It can do the work of truth, even though it's false. You know? You guys see how you've had rumors about you, and rumors, and family starts talking and friends and stuff, and then it's hard to put that back in the bottle because now you got a reputation, even though reputation is based on, it's not based on reality. I told Milena one time, I said this is how the human psyche works, right? So I said we were late one time for something, and everyone, our group of friends remembered that we were late. We had a very good excuse, a very good reason, right? No problem. Everyone's late all the time. Nobody's going to remember that. Then we were late a second time. Again, very good excuse, very good reason. People start making jokes. Oh, late again, huh? And then one night we were getting ready. And these are years apart, these events, these being late. We're always, okay, we're no different than anybody else. I said, we cannot be late a third time. And she goes, why? What's the big deal? I said, do you remember we were late 2 times before? She goes, yeah, that was a long time ago, and we're always there. So I said, no, that third time, even though we have a good reason, and the first 2 times we had a good reason, we will be labeled irresponsible. That's how people will see us. They will not remember the details of the first 2 incidents. They will not consider that we're always there and we always show up and we always keep our promises. They won't remember that. Now we've got a reputation. So we've become that person being late. That's who we are now. If we're late again a third time. This is how people, their brains work. And you put out that crap about filming practices, and you put out this, you put out that, all this junk. And even after the retraction, even if that person read the retraction, they don't believe it. And it doesn't matter because their view of you is still negative. It's how they destroyed Tom Brady's reputation. It's what they did during Bountygate to the Saints. They threw all this stuff against the wall, hoping it would stick. And then the reputation is formed, and you can't put the genie back in the bottle. That's what happened with Spygate. Is they just threw things against the wall, and then now he's a cheater. They don't think about the nuances. They don't think about the reasons or what was happening, why it happened, what was behind it. Was Belichick irresponsible? Yeah. Okay. For one half of football, he didn't pay attention to the rules. He didn't care. He just thumbed his nose at it. Okay. For one half of football against the Jets. Had they not been caught by Eric Mangini, they would have kept doing it, right? Okay. So guess what that means? He got in trouble. He got fined and got in trouble. They lost the first-round draft pick. That alone was too much. But they paid the price, and then they got over it. Okay? That was it. But all anyone remembers is cheater. So once you're labeled a cheater, well, you might as well have just gone hardcore. You might as well have just started miking up locker rooms. You might as well have just started sending over operatives to other teams and stealing their playbooks. Okay? Might as well have just started going all. If you're going to be accused of being a cheater, you might as well go hardcore. It's that's what this is. And then a opinion is formed about you. And that's why Deflategate became such a big deal. If Spygate never happened, Deflategate doesn't even exist. But they knew that they could do this. And they knew it would get blown up because of Spygate, because of the reputation. Even though those 2 events have nothing to do with each other, even though Deflategate is complete nonsense, doesn't matter. The reputation's there. And that sticks with people. Same thing with politics. The news is brainwashing people every single day. Doesn't matter. No one's going to remember the retractions. You just say the crap, you put it up there, and that's it. And so these voters go in there and they just think, oh, cheater, cheater. They don't even understand what that was. Of course you can film signals. You can see the signals anywhere in the stadium. You could hire people to pose as a fan and just film with their freaking cell phone or whatever they've got with them. We see clips of people posting on YouTube all the time from their experience at the games. You can see the guy right there doing what he's doing. It was complete nonsense. The problem is the Patriots got Randy Moss. They got Dante Stallworth. Everyone knew they were going to go for another run, and everyone freaked out. Even after Mangini turned him in, that should have been nothing. It should have just been like, okay, whatever. But they had their chance to do something about it. So again, technically, did Belichick break the rules? Yeah, he did. Was he arrogant, insufferably arrogant? Yes, absolutely. Was it a big deal? The method of filming signals was a convenience. That was one aspect of a million other things that you do to scout the opposition. It's one of, take your pick of how many things they do. It's not one thing, okay? It's like, I remember the guy interviewing Belichick on 60 Minutes. To be able to take the film and then decode the signals, it's like, Belichick's like, dude, this isn't, this isn't, quantum physics. It's, making it sound like decode the signals. What the are you talking about, dude? Just, it's unbelievable how this became so big. Should Belichick have stopped doing it after it became a rule? Absolutely. Did he created embarrassment for the organization. He made it difficult for us to have to defend this crap. Okay? But he was punished. And the punishment was more severe than the crime. And yet they're still being punished for it. And here's the problem. If you're doing this to Belichick, are you going to do this to Brady now? What happens then? You see? But you've just opened up a can of worms now. This is Pandora's box. Okay? Again, the Terrell Owens thing should have been a warning. It should have been the, okay, we've got to fix this now, or this is we're finished. The Hall of Fame will have no legitimacy. Terrell Owens waiting 3 years. Are you kidding me? You know what pisses me off? You know what it really annoys me? Is that Peyton Manning was doing a ESPY show where he was the host, and he pointed at Terrell Owens and he said, Terrell, you're a Hall of Famer. You're going to get in this year. Third try. You're a lock. Guaranteed. I don't remember Peyton raising hell for that, for Terrell to get in. You know what I also believe? I don't believe that Peyton can be that separated from Tony Dungy and Bill Polian. So Bill Polian and Tony Dungy are the ones who orchestrated this Belichick thing. Okay? They are the ones behind it. Bill did not vote for Belichick. He is a liar. He is a liar. He said he didn't remember. Then he changed it. He's a complete liar. Him and Dungy were the ringleaders of this. They are the ones. It's complete nonsense. Nathan asked me, how would you respond to people that knocked Belichick because he wouldn't have success without Brady? I sort of knocked him out of because of that, but I see him as the first ballot because those are separate issues. The Belichick without Brady is within the context of absolving Brady from saying that he was reliant only on Belichick. And then they use the beneficiary, just a pure beneficiary. So these two things are not equal. So they're just a completely separate situation. Doesn't mean when you, okay, it doesn't mean that when you say that Belichick was bad without Brady, doesn't mean he doesn't still get credit for his achievements with Brady. Those aren't the same thing. Those don't equal. So it's just that simple. I mean, the work still has to be done, and we've always said that. But we're saying that Tom wasn't on a free ride, and that's what people. So we point to Belichick's time outside of Brady to basically defend Brady, saying that he was not being carried by Bill. But that doesn't mean that Bill's not a Hall of Famer. It's the same way okay, if it's all Tom Brady, if we use that same thing, then no Patriot can be a Hall of Famer. So Gronk can't be a Hall of Famer because, oh, well, his quarterback was Brady, or, you know, just whoever. I mean, there's not that many Patriots Hall of Famers that I can use for an example, but which is actually more of a compliment to Belichick and Brady, that there isn't very many Hall of Famers. The of all dynasties, they have the least amount of Hall of Famers, and they don't have anybody other than Gronk that I can think of that will actually end up in the Hall. But the ones that we're going to get in already got in. Ty Law, and yeah. So those are just separate issues, is all I would say. Speaking of Bart Starr, what are your thoughts on him? I think he's underrated and more deserving than Troy Aikman and Bob Greasy. Otto Graham and Johnny Unitas are most underrated. Okay. Well, Bart Starr, okay, you have to understand the Packers team at the time. Bart Starr wasn't exactly Unitas, or Otto Graham, like you're saying. He was a leadership guy. But that era of Green Bay Packers, they just like to run the ball and play defense. But I think he's rated properly. I think we just leave him alone, and I think that's fine. If some people think he's overrated, whatever. Some people think he's underrated. I won't argue that either. In my opinion, I think he's just right. I think that's fine. Bob Greasy is a joke. It's a complete joke. It's utter nonsense. Okay? Troy Aikman, well, you guys know how I feel. In my hall, no, Troy Aikman wouldn't be in there, but a lot of people wouldn't be in there. My favorite quarterback of all time growing up was Warren Moon, and I wouldn't have Warren in there. And I wouldn't have Kurt Warner in there, and you guys know how I feel about Kurt. So no, I wouldn't put Troy in there. But based on how what we've seen, I guess Troy qualifies, doesn't he? So yeah, Josh, Joe Namath got in because of the magnitude of his significance to the NFL. Joe Namath got in on a technicality. Not a technicality, that's the wrong word. Joe Namath got in more for contribution than quarterback excellence. Okay? So when they were deciding Joe Namath, they weren't thinking, oh, Joe Namath is, Otto Graham. Okay? They weren't thinking, Joe Namath is Johnny Unitas. They were thinking, we're going to win the Super Bowl. We're going to beat the Colts. They beat the Colts. That legitimizes the AFL. That creates the merger. And that makes the NFL the powerhouse that it is. That was the argument that got him in. That's why he's there. So Namath got in on story and legend and not on ability. What would be the criteria for a quarterback to be a Hall of Famer that hasn't won championships? Dan Marino didn't win a championship. Dan Marino would be your exception only because of what the reason Dan is in, or what the argument would be for Dan is that what he did, despite not winning a Super Bowl, was so insanely crazy, hard. The kind of numbers you put up, it's just it was so heavy on that end of it. It was able to outweigh the lack of Super Bowls. That's the argument for Dan, basically. So people come along and say, oh, well, if Dan got in, then Dan Fouts can get in. Or Phillip Rivers can get in. No. Why do you think? Because it's not the same. It's just not the same, in my opinion. Dan Marino threw for over 5,000 yards in 1984. 1984. Okay. 5,000 yards in 1984. 48 touchdowns in 1984. I have a conversion chart. Okay. It converts to today. That's about 6,200 yards, 6,300 yards, guys. Okay. That's about 60 touchdowns. It's ridiculous. It's utterly insane. If it was just a one-off, if that was just a one-time thing, and then he was just a normal quarterback, and if he was, Boomer Esiason or something after that, then it's not enough. But he consistently was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Always. And so now that carries weight. So it's just, Dan just did enough at the one thing he was good at. He was so good at it that it outweighed the lack of Super Bowls. It's a very rare case, very strange case, very unique. But you cannot use Dan as a way to put in other people. You can't sit there and it doesn't work like that. You can't. And at least Dan got an MVP, at least he got that. At least he got a Super Bowl appearance. So that helps him, that helps him on top of the already, the crazy stats there. So, and that's, that's the thing about this. You've got to be very, you got to think every angle when you're judging who gets into the hall. And these people are not thinking like that. They're just like, well, if this guy got in, then this guy should get in. So let's keep putting guys in on top of other guys in because of this or whatever. Well, if Joe Namath is in, then we need to put Phillip Rivers in. Well, no. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't, Josh Allen? You mean he might be an exception like Dan? I don't know. For some reason, I think Josh will win a Super Bowl. I just don't think it'll be in Buffalo. I think he'll do a Matthew Stafford kind of thing. I think he'll join a team at some point, and that team, he'll be a missing link for that team. And yeah, maybe even like a Tom Brady situation in Tampa where you come in, and I'm not saying Josh is Tom. I'm just saying that it's similar to where you kind of go and it's just kind of have some fun, and you're like, shit, I won a Super Bowl. What the hell? After a long career. I think that's what Marino should have done, by the way. Um, Deb, what's going on? Yeah, you heard the news? Yeah. It's it's just shockingly stupid, you know? It's just oh, here's a picture with me and Belichick. I don't post this very often because I know that um, we're all still bitter about Belichick and the Brady and the fallout and all that. But I think today is a good day to show the photo. So um, I'm proud of this photo. Um, me and Bill, he didn't say much, he didn't talk much. Um, but yeah, so. But I told you guys that this Hall of Fame thing was becoming very problematic. Um, so it's just I didn't think they were going to get this wrong though. This is unbelievable. Like this is politics, is what this is. It's personal bullshit. Okay, it's personal. It's politics. That's what this is. What is there? Four head coaches to be first ballot Hall of Famers. Don Shula, Chuck Noll, Tom Landry, or is it three? I don't think Vince Lombardi even counts because he was inducted immediately, right? Like he was part of the group that were just the originals, right? Isn't that how it works? But so there were three, right? Landry, Shula, Noll. Landry has 2 Super Bowls. Um, Noll got 4. Shula has 3, I believe. Wait. Yeah, I think Shula's got 3. But then Shula like went into complete mediocrity for like the long time after, like all the way to the 80s, and dude had Dan Marino and couldn't win. But yeah, so this is also they didn't want Belichick being able to say that he's with them. Don't forget, guys, Don Shula is the biggest Belichick hater on the planet, next to Bill Polian and Tony Dungy, Nosferatu. Okay. Are you serious, Tom? Is that true? How is that even possible? Tom Goley just said that Lombardi was not inducted in his first year of eligibility. Huh. I want to look up some details about this. I'm just curious. How is that possible? Wow. Wow. He was inducted in the class of 71, having been elected on January 16th, 1971, and enshrined. Wow. And there's a good point here. Bill Walsh didn't either. Incredible. That's incredible. I'm just blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. Like, because there was a transition where the Hall of Fame, where there was a transition that happened, and I thought that Lombardi was a part of that group where they just brought them all in, and so calling Vince a first ballot Hall of Famer really doesn't make any sense. But that is completely wrong. He was not of that group. He was later, which is shocking to me. And that just shows you one of those things where you think something is true your whole life, and then you like, what? And you look it up and you're like, what? And then Bill Walsh too, that's insane. Damn, I was off by several years. What the hell, man? I was off by 7 years. 7 years. There was a 7-year difference between what I was thinking about Vince. I thought that happened in 70, honestly. It happened in 63. That's unbelievable. Wow. So that creates a new problem now. How the hell was Vince Lombardi not a first ballot Hall of Famer? What the hell? Who was then? Huh. So you guys ready for this? The guy that's name is after the Super Bowl trophy is not a first ballot Famer. What? Yeah, Tom, I just looked it up. It opened in 63. I I thought it opened in 70. I I was 7 years off. It's unbelievable. So again, that creates the issue. How does Vince Lombardi not be a first ballot Hall of Famer? That's a whole nother problem now. That's a whole nother issue that I didn't think that they had. It's yeah, exactly. Papa Pumpkin. The Super Bowl trophy is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then the guy who wins the most is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know. I don't understand it. What is, guys? What is? You know? What is? And then Bill Walsh? How? How? Tom Gully has first ballot Hall of Fame coaches. George Halas, George Halas 63, Curly Lambeau 63. So those two guys, they're of the inaugural group. And I thought the inaugural group happened in 70, which I thought Vince was a part of. So I don't even think people really consider that first ballot. It's more of they're just the opening group. But I guess you could say it's first ballot. Okay, that's fine. We'll keep it that way. And then that includes Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, and Don Shula after that, which was years later. 1990 for Landry, 93 for Noll, and Don Shula was 97. Now, see, I wouldn't even have known that had they not screwed this up. I might have gone my whole life not realizing that Vince Lombardi was not a first ballot Hall of Famer and wouldn't have ever known that they were this big of idiots. And then I probably wouldn't have even noticed that Bill Walsh wasn't a first ballot. What the hell is happening here? So you put people in that don't deserve to be there, but you don't put people in on the first ballot that are easily supposed to be there. I don't, please help me understand this. No, Bill Walsh had 3. Yeah. Oh my God, Paul Brown. Paul Brown, arguably the greatest coach of all time. And a lot of people believe that. I certainly would not put Chuck Noll, Don Shula, or Tom Landry, even though I respect them. I would not put them in my GOAT conversation. I don't see them that way. My GOAT conversation would be Belichick, Paul Brown, and Bill Walsh. There you go. There you go. The 3 guys that didn't get first ballot. And then I would even have Lombardi up there before I would have Landry, Noll, or Shula. So you'd have to go through 4 different guys before I get to the 3 that they put in post merger. What do you say to that? What do you say to that? Like, just can open worms all over the place. Yeah, blind assassin. Brady's up in 28. I mean, if he gets in first ballot, he'll be enshrined in 28. But it's not going to happen to Tom only because of the backlash from this. That's why. If there wasn't any backlash, then it would have happened to Tom. But the Hall of Fame freaked out, and they're threatening everybody's jobs. They essentially they basically have said that they're going to be removing some people. So yeah, they're not going to go after. They're not going to do that with Tom. They wouldn't even let that happen. Probably they're probably going to intervene. So, but this is why I think first ballot is so important, because I think if you can't make it on the first, are you really a Hall of Famer? But I also, that requires the voters to not be complete idiots. So see, there's a lot that has to happen there. So it would require that this would be my Hall of Fame. So if it's my Hall of Fame, I would be the one doing the picking and the choosing. And if I can't put you in your first year of eligibility, I'm not putting you in, you know. And then there's guys that I love that I don't think that got first ballot that aren't first ballot Hall of Famers. Calvin Johnson is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Megatron is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay? He would not get in the VonAllen Sports Hall of Fame. Okay? He would not get in. He is my favorite wide receiver ever. Okay? He's the best I've seen. Okay? He's amazing. He's not a Hall of Famer. Aaron, but what about eye test? Yeah, we don't play that game. If we do the eye test, then my God, the Hall of Fame would look completely different. Do you know how many amazingly talented players and awesome, great, whatever you want to call it, great players, talented, whatever word you want to use, has come and gone? You want to put Bo Jackson in the Hall of Fame too? I mean, I just, you've got to accomplish, you know? And it just, it should be harder and harder and harder. What are we doing here? What are we doing? It doesn't mean anything anymore now. It's over. And it's a joke. It's a joke. Damn, Papa Pumpkin. That was damn. Exactly, Tom. They have time to realize the mistake and then redo the voting. And they absolutely should. If they want to save any shred of legitimacy that the Hall of Fame had left, even a little bit, like that 1% I was talking about, they would redo it. They would redo the vote. It's just completely idiotic. It's utterly stupid. Doesn't make any sense. This is also why I hate the MVP voting. And after review, we screwed this up. Still a first down, though. Listen, there's nothing wrong with going back and getting it right. Saying, yeah, we feel that politics played into this too much. Personal vendettas played into this too much. We're redoing the vote. And I guarantee you it changes. It's probably unanimous. If the Hall of Fame, went after the people who were petty. Bill Polian is a liar. He is a liar. He is an absolute liar. He's also a coward because he can't just admit that he did it. He can't just say, hell yeah, I did it. Screw Belichick. Guess what, buddy? You're not getting in. And I did it to you. Ha. He doesn't even have the balls to say it or stick behind what he did. If you're going to do something like that, there you go. So that's it. So not only is he a piece of shit, but he's also a coward. Wouldn't want to be Bill Polian. Chris Broussard. What a faggot. Screw him. Just taking a look here on X. Oh, this is my new favorite team, guys. The Caucasians. I got tired of this shirt basically represents my defense of the Washington Redskins. I want the Redskins back. And people going around saying, "Oh, would you? It's offensive. Would you want a team called the Caucasians?" There you go. Doesn't bother me. You know why? Because I'm not an insecure little bitch. The freaking Washington Redskins is one of the most badass names, badass logos ever in sports history, and you removed it. Whatever. Idiots. So until then, we're going to call them the Washington Caucasians. That's better than the Commanders. Idiots. Yeah, so Andy Reid will not be getting in the Hall of Fame. Here's why. The Kansas City Chiefs will lose 2 draft picks for their actions leading up to the start of the league year in 2015, citing improper contact with wide receiver Jeremy Maclin prior to the start of free agency. Chiefs lose 2 draft picks for tampering. Okay? Also, John Elway, he can't be in. You know why? Because the single most egregious cheating that's ever taken place in the history of the sport, in my opinion, the thing that will give you an advantage bigger than anything, was circumventing the salary cap in the post-salary cap era. That's what the Denver Broncos did. That gave them the opportunity to win a Super Bowl in 98. The one against the Falcons, the second one. Yeah. Elway was involved in that scheme. Elway, Terrell Davis, and the owner at the time, Pat Bowlen, at the time that they did that, and they were punished years later. They waited a while for it to be, but they did that. They got around the salary cap. That right there, that meant that if they had not done that, in order to keep Elway and Terrell Davis, they would have had to lose other people. Maybe they lose Shannon Sharp. Maybe they lose, who knows, maybe key offensive lineman. Maybe they lose a great defensive player. And maybe that's the difference. But going around the salary cap is a big deal. So Elway's got to go. Bill Polian was a vocal figure in the Hall of Fame deliberations involving Bill Belichick, with Spygate and Deflategate coming up among Deflategate. Are you kidding me? Okay, listen, I'm gonna let you hit there and talk about Spygate. Okay, like I said, for a half of football, they were guilty of it. Sure. Don't even mention Deflategate, or you're an utter retard. All right, and you just don't even talk to me about that. Per a voter who spoke anonymously, what a pansy. Polian told some voters he believed Belichick should wait a year as penance for Spygate. And we're just conveniently leaving out Tony Dungy, which you know was a part of it. Tony Dungy is as big of a hater as Polian. He always gets looked over because, oh, he's a nice guy. He's a classy guy. Yeah. All that shit. Look at this. Look at this Nosferatu-looking motherfucker. All right? Look at this. Look at this fuck. All right? Look at that. Look at this weird, ugly-ass, stupid piece of shit. Look at this dude. Oh, I'm Nosferatu. I'm Nosferatu. Oh, ha, ha. Now I'm turning into Count Chocula for some reason. One Super Bowl. Two Super Bowl. No. You're lucky you got that one, you little Nosferatu-looking bitch. Yeah, Tony Dungy. You know, I talk shit to him on Twitter for years, and he never responds. So, yeah, that newer report, Phil, is a fucking lie. Bill Polian is changing it because of the backlash. People are ripping his ass. I mean, Hall of Famers are calling and like, what the hell is his problem? Ryan Leaf was brave enough to speak up. This is from Ryan Leaf. He says, I'll be transparent. I am one of the Hall of Fame voters who didn't vote for Coach Belichick. It's come time that if you are able to penetrate the walls of the voting ilk, yours or anyone's resentments can be fueled with revenge. Tom ain't getting in either. He lost to Foles. No way, no how. Well said, Ryan Leaf. I think everyone needs to hear from Ryan Leaf. That's good stuff there. That's pretty damn funny, Ryan. Who knew Ryan was such a... That's pretty good. I give him props for that one. But are you guys ready for this? You're probably going to be maybe surprised, maybe not. I am not completely convinced that Robert Kraft wasn't involved in this. Okay? So let's just keep that in mind. I'll basically put it like this. If we found out that Robert Kraft had a say in some of this, or maybe Ryan Leaf doesn't have a vote. He was joking. He was being sarcastic. He was being a smartass, saying that apparently we can just put personal biases in our voting and in the voting system and just do what we want. So, no, Ryan Leaf does not have a vote. But he was defending Belichick, basically. But I'm not accusing Kraft of being involved, but I'm saying that don't be shocked if he was, because his the Patriots documentary, the Dynasty thing, might as well have been called "I Hate Belichick." Okay. Now I did a video covering that. I don't know if you guys had caught that, but I did a whole video of my assessment of the Dynasty, and I defended Belichick in that. Funnily enough, that was, the way they framed things was so wrong and so messed up. Like, it's just, and basically, if you didn't know a lot about the Patriots dynasty and you watched that, you would think that Belichick was responsible for Aaron Hernandez. Like, what is a football coach going to know about whether or not you're going to go murder someone? Okay. Yeah. But Unbelievable. These people. These people. Wait, what's this? What the hell am I looking at? Is this true?
They always find a little bit more when they
This is Sean Payton apparently talking about Bo Nix.
a condition that was like predisposed right at that they always find a little bit more when they go in, and it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
Didn't have any predisposed issues. Man, my ankles were feeling really good.
He said he had one in high school, and then he said he had one at Auburn.
I don't think he really should share how many surgeries I've had in the past, to be honest with you, but because I don't, he doesn't really even know that.
A condition that
Wow. Okay, just in case you guys couldn't understand what that was, I'm going to give you the context for that. Sean Payton was talking about Bo Nix's injury history and revealing some things that apparently wasn't information that people should have. And Bo Nix called into a radio station to make that correction. He said, I don't think Coach Payton should be talking about my injury history and things that he doesn't know about. What the hell is that? Okay. Not all is well in Bronco country, is it? Yeah, Peyton might have been able to might have been screwing Bo Nix up because for the future contracts and things like that. If he's, I mean, I don't know the extent of it, but I just read it just now, so. But that's not cool. That's not cool. Sean Payton's kind of a prick, isn't he? Elva Courage since the $2 super chat. He says, wonder how many Brady haters would come to Brady's defense if he is snubbed. I think a lot. I think a lot. I think it's what you see with Bill. Not the people with Brady derangement syndrome, but the people that are just like, screw Brady, he's beating us all the time. Yeah, it's like those people will defend him. It would be the same people defending Belichick, basically. Hey, what's up? I thought y'all went to that thing. Oh, awesome. What is that? Is that chicken sandwich? Oh, nice. Oh, can you get those pickles off of it? Not cool. Not cool. Hey, so I got out of Mexican dancing tonight in order to talk to you guys about Belichick. Thank you so much. It's very nice of you. Cool.
Are these easier?
Huh? What is that?
Chicken wings.
Oh, the hamburger. That's great. Thank you.
Now we're going to Mexican then.
Oh, now you're going to Mexican dancing. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to stay online so I don't have to go. So I'm going to stick with you guys. You guys are going to bail me out, okay? Thank you. I need you guys. Don't make me go. Don't make me go. Please, don't make me go. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm just scrolling real quick, seeing what's going on here. Oh yeah, Ray Lewis was elected the Hall of Fame first ballot. Apparently, you can murder people, and that's okay.
Sean Payton is going to be very touchdown. Bo Nix heated. Words of advice from Drew Brees. Sean Payton is going to be very demanding with you. You have to be demanding right back. There's part of that relationship. And let me tell you, you have to have respect. You're going to have these things happen during the course of the game. When you step between the white lines and you're competitive, sometimes you're going to have touchdown.
The Browns, or I'm excited to work with a Pro Bowl quarterback in Cheddar Sanders. It was either coach of the Browns or working the register at Jo-Ann Fabrics. Conversely, the Browns. I'm excited to work with a Pro Bowl quarterback in Cheddar Sanders. It was either coach of the Browns or working the register at Jo-Ann Fabrics. Conversely, the Browns were either going to hire me or a graduate assistant at Bowling Green. If Myles Garrett can injure Joe Burrow again, it will be the highlight of our season. I'm already super happy about getting fired by the Browns and getting that buyout. I didn't play Derrick Henry at critical moments in big games, but I won't do that here because we won't have any critical moments. We'll be getting our asses kicked from start to finish, and we don't have any players worth a shit. Make no mistake about it, I intend to win in Cleveland. We're going to win 4, maybe even 5 games if we get hot. I came to the Browns because I have always been a masochist. I feel really confident that we'll be last in the division for the entirety of my tenure. Every week I would royally fuck up the Ravens' game plan, so the Browns said we need this guy. My first order of business is to hire a femme fatale masseuse to poison Deshaun Watson in his rub and tug. Can't have dead cap money when you're dead.
What? Would you look at this? The legendary Eli Manning. Eli, I believe in Eli. I believe he can touch the sky. Was not voted into the Pro Hall of Fame for the second straight year. 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 4 times Pro Bowler, 60 Walter Payton Man of the Year. I don't know why that's relevant. 11th in passing yards, 11th in passing touchdowns. Okay. Okay, guys. Guys. Okay. So, yeah. Shut up. Eli's not a Hall of Famer. Yeah, yes. Eli. Yeah. Okay. Shut up, Beavis. Okay. 11th in passing yards. Doesn't mean anything. That's just longevity stats. Okay. 11th in passing touchdowns. That's just longevity stats. Don't care. Walter Payton, Man of the Year. So, 4-time Pro Bowl. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about the Pro Bowl? Travis Kelce got into the Pro Bowl because of Taylor Swift. He got the most votes ever. Who gives a shit about the Pro Bowl? The only thing this dude has on his resume is the 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Now that's a lot. That's heavy, right? The problem is he was dog shit every year of his career. Okay? Maybe he had 1 year where he was okay. He had those playoff runs, and again, that's why he's going to be remembered. That's why he's got paid a lot of money, but dude was dog shit almost every season the entire time he was in the league. What are we doing here? What are we doing? That is the Patriots. That's the Patriots effect there. Was that too loud? I'm sorry, guys. These damn videos on X, like, you go from one and you can't even hear anything to the next one. You would think that X would have an automatic limiter or compressor of some sort that would just automatically make the videos all the same. But that would actually be too convenient, so. Now, did you guys hear about the Bills' new head coach? It's Joe Brady. It's the offensive coordinator. I need to understand something. Okay? Sean McDermott was fired to change up the culture there, to ignite some kind of jolt into the team, because they kept getting so far and then they would lose. There was some kind of thing about them, about McDermott, and about the Bills that just couldn't get past that. So you fire McDermott in order to achieve those things, right? And you hire the same guy? What? I don't get it. What is that exactly? What? You need to hire from the outside. Because that was your reasoning. You didn't fire Sean McDermott because he sucked. You fired him for a culture change. I always told you guys, we can make fun of head coaches, we can talk bad about them, but if you're gonna fire them, you damn well better have a replacement. You can't just fire and then not have anything. Okay? So your answer to Sean McDermott not getting you over the hump was to take someone from his coaching staff? That was your answer. That was going to solve it. Okay? I don't understand this. I don't understand owners. I don't understand the NFL. It's sometimes it's just fans seem to have a better grasp sometimes of these things. I just don't see how that's any different than what you were already doing. I don't see the shakeup. I don't see the they're trying to, it just seems bizarre. That's all. Maybe it works. I don't know, but it just seems weird. That's all. That you would just do a lateral move. I was hoping they were gonna bring in somebody, that really would shake things up and make them tougher, make them more legit. But this looks like appeasement, more than anything else. This looks like giving your quarterback his way and creating a safe space for him. That's what I feel like this is. When you should have been bringing in, somebody that could really just light the place up, I don't know. I might be wrong, but I feel this might be just a lateral move, and you might as well have kept McDermott. It might actually get worse. So it's weird to me, but whatever. The Browns was the guy I was showing you earlier. He came from the Ravens. He was their coordinator there, offensive coordinator. I don't know. The Browns are the Browns, aren't they? They just good people, good candidates, at least. I'd say good candidates, people that would have been interesting hires, withdrew their name from the coaching candidacy for the Browns because the Browns' requirements were very strange. And it was like, who do you think you are, And no quality coach or coach with any kind of history is going to, do that. Like, let the Browns talk to them like that and treat them that way. So there was nobody to really hire for the Browns. So they just went with this guy. So the Browns are the Browns. They just are who they are. He's going to have to coach Cheddar now. Cheddar Sanders, apparently. Yeah, Phil, the GM. Yeah, Bean. Yeah, he was the problem in Buffalo, and he got promoted. So there was some internal stuff going on there. They threw McDermott under the bus. They threw the coaching staff under the bus at that press conference. The owner even chimed in on that. So something's up. I guess maybe since that guy coached Lamar in Baltimore, that they think that would work well for Cheddar. That's probably their thought process there. But you're not. I mean, like I said, the Browns coaching search was really awkward. They kind of limited the group of people that they were going to go with. So if I'm especially if I'm an experienced head coach with Super Bowl on my belt, like McCarthy or Tomlin or Harbaugh, and the Cleveland Browns want me to interview, but then they say I've got to take some kind of test and pass some kind of, like, I'd be like, what? Who are you? I mean, it'd be borderline offensive for the Patriots to ask those questions, but you're the Browns. Like, are you serious? You should be happy that I'm even sitting in this room talking to you right now. So a lot of people withdrew. Even that crazy idiot, the serial killer in Miami, McDaniel, who's now here in LA with us, probably lives next door to me. He's going to be the coordinator now for the Chargers. That guy, he withdrew from the Cleveland Browns. He would rather He would rather work for the Chargers than be the coach of the Browns. Like, oh yeah, John, yeah. And then I saw Skip Bayless do the white guilt thing. You guys know that meme where it shows the girl from Game of Thrones where she's being carried by I don't know if they were black or Middle Eastern or something, but and it shows a white girl, she's all blonde, she's all like they're worshiping her, and it looks like that's what white people like Skip Bayless does. He wants to be loved by black people so badly that he does this stuff, and he completely listen. I'm talking to you, white people. Black people think you're idiotic when you do that. They find it offensive. Okay? They're like looking at you like you're retarded. Why are you doing that? Just shut up. Don't get angry for us. Okay? Stay in your lane. Just shut up. Okay? You're not getting points. They actually feel sorry for you and they don't respect you. Don't do that. Just stop it. Stop with the white guilt bullshit. Okay? It's dumb. It's just dumb. And Skip Bayless was piling it on today. It should have been a black coach for Sanders, and I feel like I can't believe it's another white guy, blah, 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 blah. Sitting there as he's a white guy, millionaire, who gets paid to spout diarrhea from his mouth every day. And I didn't see him giving up his jobs. Okay? I don't see him, just shut up. I am so tired of these people telling us this stuff. It's irrelevant what race the coach is. Okay? You either do the job or you don't do the job. Okay? Why do you care if the coach of Cheddar Sanders is black or white? Why? What difference does it make? If Todd Monken does a good job, then what are you going to say then? What if Cheddar is a MVP candidate this next year in 2026 because of Monken? What is Skip going to say then? Oh, well, it's not legitimate MVP because Monken's white. No, Skip is going to be going nuts saying, "Oh, it's all Cheddar." Stupid. Tired of people putting race in everything. Tired of people putting race in everything. This right here, this is a response to that. You don't take away one of the greatest iconic franchise logos ever. And none of the names. That is a team history. The Washington Redskins with 3 Super Bowls. You don't take that away. You just don't. All right. Well, I made it long enough to where I didn't have to go Mexican dancing with her nephew. They're gone now, so I'm off the hook. I think 2 hours is a pretty good show for talking shit about the Hall of Fame. What do you guys think? Anything I'm missing? Sydney Sweeney getting out of a car in her lingerie? Okay. This timeline got strange. Evidently, the Grok AI that runs my timeline thinks that that is something I'm interested in. That would be correct. Good job, timeline. Oh, now it's a cat. See, the timeline knows me. Keeps showing me pussy. Dad, if you're watching this, please don't. Oh, you want to see it? Okay, just a second. The cat or Sydney Sweeney? I'm just making sure, you know. To each his own, right? All right. There you go. The only problem is she doesn't drop the stupid jacket. That's not cool. Got to drop the jacket, man. There's some bullshit. I have to say one thing real quick. I'm a little disappointed in Kurt Warner, though. He's been navigating it very like a politician, but he's being petty and he's being a hater. He's been hating on the Patriots this Super Bowl run. He's trying to hide it, but he's not doing a great job. And now with the Belichick thing, you know, he's just go on X, take a look at his profile and read through it, and you'll see what I mean. It's not obvious, you know, at first, but you can read through it. He's kind of being petty. He's not Marshall Faulk level derangement, but it's there. It's there. What the hell? All right, guys, I'm going to get off here. Thank you for being with me tonight. I know it was impromptu, whatever just came out of nowhere, but you guys are amazing. It's awesome. This has been fun, but I think 2 hours is good. I think that works. So I'll see you guys soon. You know, we're going to be doing, of course, all next week is the lead up to the Super Bowl, which is all the cool interviews and everything. So we'll have a lot to talk about, and of course, getting ready for the Super Bowl, baby. We're going for 7. I can't believe it, guys. I just can't. I still can't believe it. I thought these days were probably over, at least for a long time. I had mentally settled into the fact that, you know, now it's just about the NFL in general. We've just got to love the game for what it is, because the Patriots are not going to give us that satisfaction and that feeling probably anymore. And that's not because I didn't believe in the organization couldn't do it. It's just because that's how it works. That's how it goes, you know. And we just hit on a coach and a quarterback, and now we're in the Super Bowl. I've already got to feel that feeling again. It's been great. Didn't even expect it. So it's been very, very interesting. Except this isn't as stressful, because when Tom was going to Super Bowls, the legacy was so important. Everything was on the line, and it just wrecked. It just wrecked you, right? The anxiety and all that. This one, I feel very just happy and excited and ready to go. Hope we can win it, but we're going to be good for a long time. So we got this, you know. And I'll be making my pick next week. And an analysis of the game. So, all right. I think that's it. Let's see. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Good night.
VonAllen Sports. VonAllen Sports. VonAllen Sports.
VonAllen.